Hi everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to my Wasteless Life. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my Epipremnum pinnatum pothos collection. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you're new, this is my Wasteless Life, where I take you along my plant and sustainable lifestyle journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. In my previous video, I shared with you my pothos plants under the Epipremnum aurum variety and what's in my collection. And for this video, I'll be sharing with you my Epipremnum pinnatum pothos plants. My updated pothos varieties and collection video is a 4-part series. You don't have to watch them in order, but if you would like to see the different types of varieties and what I have in my collection, see which ones you'd like to add to yours and what I would recommend, then please do watch all 4. The first part is already up on the Epipremnum aureum as mentioned, and the next one after this is on vining philodendrons and Scindapsus plants that are often considered or mistaken as pothos plants. All those videos will be linked down in the description once they're up. Make sure that you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on any of the uploads. I also recently came out with this book, The Ultimate Guide to Pothos Plants, which talks about all the different varieties. And as much as I love you all watching my videos and even doing multiple viewings to find out what type of pothos you have, you might be interested in having all that information and more in one reference guidebook. So this is why I came up with this book, and this is now available in paperback and in Kindle version and Amazon. And if you don't have any access to Amazon in your territory, it's available in PDF on Etsy. And I'm also currently having a birthday sale on the ebook, so go check the description for the link to that. Unlike the Epipremnum aureum, this is a much smaller group. I'll be sharing up to 6 varieties of Epipremnum pinnatum, and I'm happy to say that I have all the varieties in my collection. Well, almost, but you will see. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is none other than the Cebu Blue Pothos. When it comes to sentimental value, this one wins. And not because of how I got it, because I just got this from Lowe's, but considering how this is still uncommon in many areas, including mine, and I found this at Lowe's about a couple years ago for under $20 in an 8-inch box, so that's kind of a big deal. But the reason that this has a great sentimental value to me, because this variety originates from the Philippines, specifically Cebu. And not to clown on anyone's pronunciation of the word, you know I always mispronounce a lot of English words here, but if you're interested in knowing how to properly say the name, it's pronounced Cebu, not Cebu or Cebu, but Cebu. As a pothos plant, this is definitely one of the more unique ones with a silver blue undertones. This is the only pothos plant that has that silver blue, and it has a much more elongated and textured leaf compared to other Epipremnum aureum pothos plants. Among all the varieties that I'll talk about today, this is the most accessible one, even though, as mentioned earlier, this is still very much uncommon in many places, including in my own area. Although when I went to Chicago, you could see from my videos that this was pretty much everywhere. Here, I always get asked by my plant friends where I got mine, especially from the plantitos and the plantitas. And when I sell propagations of this, they sell very quickly. The next Epipremnum pinnatum that I added into my collection is the Shangri-La Pothos. And as you can see, this is another unique one with its very wrinkly leaves that is shaped as a cone or a witch's hat, which is also what is commonly called. So when the leaf first comes out, it will be shaped into a cone, very wrinkly, and as the leaf hardens, it will start to open up like this one, but then as it matures, it would start to wrinkle back in again and form a shape of a cone or a witch's hat. So this is a very fun plant to have. Some people also call this the wrinkled spinach because it does look like wrinkled spinach after you saute them. But this is not as pricey as other uncommon and rare pothos. At least when I got it from Etsy as a 4-leaf cutting for about $30 or $40. And once I got it, I just put it in the moss and let it root, and it pretty much took off on its own. I didn't have to do anything, and it didn't give me any trouble during the propagation process. It was a slow grower at first, but once it has established itself as a plant, as you can see, it has been producing a lot of new leaves. It does have a variegated version called the Shangri-Ulala that comes with the yellow variegation. And when I got this, this was supposed to be variegated. A variegated leaf did come with the original cutting, but as it produces new leaf, as you can see, there's no variegation in them. But this latest leaf, I did see a variegation in it. So hopefully the newer leaves will have more variegation in them as well. But this is such a fun plant to have if you like funky leaves. And like I said, not as pricey yet and not that hard to find in the current market. The next variety of Epipremnum pinnatum that I'm going to talk about is the dragon tail or tibatib, which also originates from the Philippines, but this time from the Luzon region. And this plant, when it matures and fenestrates, is also mistaken for a Monstera deliciosa. But in their juvenile form, it is often mistaken for the Cebu blue pothos. But how you differentiate the two is the Cebu blue pothos would have that silver blue coloring to it, while the Epipremnum pinnatum dragontail or tibatib would just be simply green like a jade pothos. And while most pothos plants are considered toxic, the tibatib is reported to have medicinal properties. It also has a variegated form, the Epipremnum pinnatum variegata, which is the Monstera albo from Wish, because when it also matures and fenestrates, it looks very much like a Monstera albo. Although the Epipremnum pinnatum variegata is still very expensive, it can cost more than $100 for a small plant, but definitely not as expensive as the Monstera albo. So if you want a Monstera albo but you don't want to pay the high price it currently has now, then you could look into getting an Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. Some also call this a variegated Cebu blue, but it is not. Like I said, the Cebu blue has that silvery blue undertone to it, and the Cebu blue might very well have a mutated form that has the albo variegation. But the one that's currently in the market or the people currently have mostly is the Epipremnum variegata, which is the variegated form of the tibatib. So this is my Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. I initially got it as a single leaf cutting in a plant swap last spring. Eventually that single leaf died out and became a wet stick, but it did produce a new growth, which is this too. And I cut off that propagation and propagated those. And then the original node or the main node right here has just started to push out new growth again, which is I'm excited about because I thought after I cut off the initial growth, the node has already became a spent node. So I'm very excited that this one has a new growth point. But as you can see, the leaves are not as variegated right now. The mother plant that it did come from is very much variegated. So I'm hoping as it produces more leaves, more variegation would come out. I've seen it with other people's Epipremnum pinnatum variegata. It would start out with low variegation, but as it produces more leaves, they see more leaves with higher levels of variegation. So I hope this is the case for this one as well. The last variety that I will talk about is the newest addition to my plant collection. And if you've seen my Chicago plant haul, you've already seen this, which is the Epipremnum pinnatum skeleton key or the skeleton key pothos. Once I brought it back to Maryland, however, it went on a struggle bus a little bit and it lost all the beautiful root growth it has. And that was my fault because I took it out of the soil and repacked it for travel. And when it came back, the roots just started rotting and it was just best to cut it all off and start all over again. So right now I have this propagating in water. I have the other one in my propagation wall up there, and this one doesn't have any root growth yet. This is still like the root growth that it initially had, but it's starting to push out new growth. So I'm really excited about that because like with my other wet sticks, when I see new growth, I am more confident or less anxious about the propagation. Even though it doesn't have any root growth yet, the growth point is always a good sign. So as you can see, what I have here is a juvenile form, and it actually looks like a Epipremnum pinnatum dragontail or tibatib. But once the leaf matures, this part down here, it would narrow. As you can see, this one is already starting to narrow, but this part would remain wide, hence forming the shape of a key. So that's why it's called the skeleton key pothos. Care for the Epipremnum pinnatum is very similar to the Aureum. They're very low maintenance, easy care plants, but maybe because these plants are more on the uncommon or rare side, I do pay a little bit more attention to them than I do with my Epipremnum Aureum pothos plants. But as far as their level of finickiness, they're not finicky plants at all. Once I get them through their propagation stage, as you can see, a couple of my plants are still in the propagation stage. Once I get them through that, they're pretty much the same as my other pothos plants once they have become an established plant. And if you want more detailed instructions on how to care for and propagate your pothos plants, I do have very detailed videos on them, and the link will be down in the description as well. And that's all the Epipremnum pinnatum varieties and what's in my collection. Let me know down in the comments which ones you have or are in your wish list, or if there's a variety that I missed or don't know about that I should know about and everybody should know about. Let me know down in the comments. I would love to learn more about it. And as mentioned, this is the second video of a 4-part series. The videos will be linked down in the description once they're all up. And make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you won't miss on any of those videos. And if you'd like to purchase my book, The Ultimate Guide to Pothos Plants, the paperback version and the ebook versions are linked down in the description. And I'm currently having a birthday sale on the ebook version. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please do subscribe and check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other and have a plentiful day. Bye.